Have you ever asked yourself, is your life story the one you've always wanted? My name's Wes Taylor. I'm a horse and human behaviorist, a relations mentor, and I'm also known as the Mustang Man. I inspire people to change their life stories so they can release their old limiting beliefs from the past. In 2008, I was living my best life until the housing market crashed. And along with it, I lost my business. I lost my identity to myself. I lost everything. This is when the Mustangs first found me. I was attending a self-improvement seminar, and it was my first experience with guided meditation. I'll be honest, I struggled, but after some time I found some quietness, I found some stillness in my mind. And that's when I heard this message. West, if you'll follow the Mustangs, they have a journey for you. And that was the beginning of my spiritual journey with the wild horses. Fast forward a few years later, I'm working full-time training wild horses, living my best life again, until I had a terrible incident with a horse. PTSD, trauma, fight, flight, all of the horse's instincts firing in a split second. The next few hours were a blur. I found myself in the back of an ambulance racing to the nearest trauma center. And another one of those quiet, still moments come over me. I can see myself laying there on the gurney in the back of the ambulance, this time in the form of a question. Are you alive or are you dead? Sirens blaring in the background, I searched for the answer, but honestly I just couldn't tell. It was an eerie question to not know the answer to. I woke up in the ICU after the trauma team put my face back together, and I realized I had a tough decision to make. Am I in or am I out with the horses? I mean, this experience had nearly killed me. And it was in this moment that I learned the transformational value that our stories have on the impact in our lives. If I was going to continue working with the Mustangs, if I was going to follow the horse, I would need to have a brain surgery. I'd need to have a brain surgery that's going to enliven my power and purpose for life, a brain surgery that was going to knock me out of my old limiting beliefs, my crappiness. I was going to need a brain surgery that would open my intuition and just activate my ability to resonate and connect with people and horses. And so that's the story I told myself laying in that hospital bed. The trouble was, there's nobody that can do this surgery, right? There's not a doctor that's going to perform that surgery. And so this is where the horse comes in yet again to change my life. So the horse was the only thing that could perform that surgery on me, that could take me within just those little millimeters of losing my life and yet still have that transformational change. So that was the story I told myself laying there in the ICU, and that was my recovery. That's what got me out of it. Yeah, waking up there in the hospital was, I just all alone and trying to figure out, what the hell am I going to do? I almost died doing this thing that I love. What am I going to do? I mean, I bet the farm on doing this thing. And then to lay there just barely recovering from my death was a humbling, scary feeling of what am I going to do now? Having that story that I was doing this and that this horse performed this brain surgery, I was committed. I was committed that I'm sticking with the horses whether we make money or don't make money. I mean, that was my commitment. The horse is such a perfect tool for me to use in our relationship coaching, that the horse doesn't have this prefrontal cortex. It doesn't have all the excuses. It doesn't have the measurement of time. It doesn't have the past history of stories that it was told. The horse is just in the right now moment. And so when we can take a wild horse and go through a transformational experience, and it can happen in sometimes minutes and hours, it's a great reflection of what us humans can do when we can get a hold of the narrative, when we can tell our own story and not run on somebody else's. Awareness is the beginning of any transformational change. We've got to be aware that we want to have some change. And then after we're aware and we start identifying some of these stories, the key factor is what I call the pause button. Can we hit the pause button and slow our story down enough that neurochemistry in our system can start to come down? We can get back to more of a dopamine and serotonin, a parasympathetic nervous system, and that's where we can really make changes and we can make some good decisions. Being able to connect with a horse, right, one, we have to turn all that chatter off, right? The horse is looking to connect with us in a sense of energetic safety. So the horse is reading us at an energetic level. And if it feels all the chaos and the stress and the bullshit that's going on in our system, the horse isn't available, doesn't want to connect with that. So as we can turn off those stories in our mind, if we can pause those stories in ourselves where we can slow that down and have a calmer neurochemistry, a calmer autonomic system, the horse will open up and we'll be able to connect with that. And our relationships with the people and everything in our life, whether it's people or fitness or food or whatever it is we're wanting to have this relationship with, when we can calm those stories and slow that down and be in a safe neurochemistry, be in a safe autonomic system, that's when we can really make some changes. When we can be conscious of the stories that we tell, we can create the life story that we've always wanted. Again, my name is Wes Taylor. Change your story, change your life.